Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I'm working on an interactive card today, so get comfy and let's get crafty. I have a whole bunch of things on my desk here. I have this little digital stamp from Tiddly Inks that I colored in this week's crime and coloring video. I have a bunch of these, my favorite things. I think they're called elements. They're the little plastic discs you use to make slider cards. And I also have the my favorite things slider dynamics. I have a mini slimline card base, a pull tab, a gift card, because that's going to come into play, and the card front. My plan here is to create an interactive card where you pull the tab and this cute little girl on the scooter starts scooting across the front of the card, but as you pull the tab out, there's a gift card attached. Now, this is not the first iteration of this card. It's not even exactly the second iteration of this card, but I am just trying to create it with the things I already have in my stash. I have already glued those little plastic elements or whatever they're called onto the back of my digital stamp so that they can dry. They need to be really good and dry. And I'm going to ink blend the background scene of this card. First thing I want to do is put a little bit of tape on the back of my card front because as much as I love working on this glass work mat, things don't really hold still. So there's that. I am using 2 honeybee stencils. It is a stencil set. It is this Grassy Hills and Slopes or something like that stamp set. And the first thing I'm doing is laying down one of the slopes. And I am inking up the bottom portion of the card with some Altenew Lava Rock ink. This is a gray ink that I'm using to create an asphalt-looking surface. Now, I am not even going to pretend that I tried to get a complete and total seamless blend here. Roads aren't one color. They're not seamless. They're lots of shades of gray in an asphalt road, and some places are blotchy and some places aren't, and I'm okay with that. The next thing I'm going to do is take the matching or the coordinating Grassy Hill stencil, and I've got to figure out which way to put it to make it line up with the road, and I'm going to ink up the grass on the side of the road with some field meadow green, fresh grass. Something like that. Fresh grass ink from also Altenew. And I'm just using these blender brushes to get a little bit of ink down. For the grass stencil, I realized really quickly that I needed to start on the stencil and blend down. Otherwise, the little grassy fringe edges to the stencil kind of bent and moved out of the way. Also, the grassy edge parts of the stencil aren't quite as wide as my card front, so there is a little bit of a on the left hand side, but in the end nobody will notice. The next thing I want to do is add some clouds to the background of the sky, so I'm reorienting that piece of paper and again sticking that down, and I'm using this My Favorite Things mini cloud stencil, and it's the one that has the different cloud shapes on all 4 sides. And I picked up a soft sky blue ink and my blue blending brush. But guess what I didn't do? Pick up the blue ink. So I realized, thankfully right away, that I had picked up that Lava Rock ink. So I just used a baby wipe and a paper towel to clean all of the gray ink out of my blue blending brush. And then I pulled the correct ink out. I did also wipe off the stencil. You didn't see me do that, but I did do that. And I inked up that brush really good because now there's no leftover ink on it. And I'm just going to go over that gray. I decided that if it was super noticeable in the end, I would put something on top of it, a sentiment or a flower or a cutout cloud or a sunshine or something. But in the end, it's not really that noticeable. It looks a little bit like maybe there's a leftover storm cloud on that side of the card. So no worries. The next step is to create the channel that the little girl on the scooter is going to be able to drive down. So I'm just kind of trying to line up like the little element pieces or whatever they're called. They don't fit into that die, but I'm just trying to figure out where to put this die. And I think the thing that's most important is that I make sure I leave enough room at the bottom of the card for foam tape. So I've run this through my die cut machine, and I'm taking the die off and putting it away, because if I don't put it away in its package right now, I will not ever find it again. It will be forever and years before that shows back up on the mess that is my work surface. I've got that all cut out now, but don't throw away that little cutout piece. This little gray piece right here, we need to keep that. We're going to use that in the end. So the next thing I'm doing is just popping these little elements into that track to make sure that once this is adhered to the card base, words are hard, words are hard, words are hard. It will slide nicely. Oh, you guys, this is a Tuesday there, Wednesday, Tuesday. It's a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. So I'm just kind of figuring out if this is going to work, and I think it is. I think this is going to work. Now, I want to take that little, what am I calling that? The pull tab cardstock. This is 5.5 inches by 2 inches, and I'm going to score it in the middle long ways. This paper has been cut against the grain, and so I can't really fold it and get a nice, clean, crisp fold without scoring it first. It's a heavier duty cardstock, so it needs just a little bit of scoring to break down those fibers. And I'm just going to go ahead and reinforce that fold. And now I've created kind of a trough or an envelope to hold the gift card into place, which I think is fabulous. I mean, I've had this idea in my head since before Christmas, and I didn't know if I could make it work. And I tried it once before Christmas, and the way I had it planned didn't work, so I put it away because Christmas had too many other things, including a surgery for me, to worry about that. But now that things are settled back down and my recovery is going well and I'm feeling like I'm awesome again, or almost awesome again, I can pull this back off of my mental shelf and figure out how to do this. The one thing I did notice is that pull tab is very visible because it's white, and the background I have ink blended with that lava rock ink. So I'm just taking that same lava rock ink and my gray blending brush and throwing them all over my desk and ink blending the pull tab. And now I'm going to adhere this, or put the foam tape rather, on the back of the card front. So I'm just measuring a piece that is long enough to go along the entire bottom side, and then I have to cut it in half. I've given myself enough room to use like a 1/4 inch wide piece of foam tape. That's what I got, because the size of the stamp, the size that I sized it when I imported it onto a publisher doc and printed it out, that's how it worked out. And I'm just going to go ahead and put foam tape on the back of my card front. Hey, if you want to see a video on how to use digital stamps, leave me a comment below. 100% will do that. So now I need to create a back bumper for my pull tab so that the tab doesn't get lost and go all the way through the card and get stuck. So in my mind, I am thinking the tab comes out the right, the bumper's got to go on the left. Do you notice anything odd about this card right now? Just pause and look. We're just going to move on. I am remembering in my head from the first or second time I tried this card that I cannot put a bumper on the front side. Like, I can't put any foam tape on that front section, the right-hand section right there, because, then the gift card won't come out. And this is when I looked at it and went, oh yeah, dummy, don't do that. I literally said that out loud. Oh yeah, dummy, don't do that. You can't get the gift card out now. And so I pulled that up. I tore the paper a little bit. And then I went, wait a minute. This is backwards. Now, because this girl on the scooter is literally facing one direction, in order to not have to take that apart, she would have had to drive backwards to get the gift card out. And I thought that was weird. So I just took that piece of foam tape off. I repositioned my pull tab, and I put the bumper on the correct side of the cardstock. And then I filled in the rest. I need to put a bumper. I'm trying to put a bumper on the top part of that pull tab so that when it slides in and out of the card, it doesn't go wonky. It stays basically straight. And then I'm just filling the rest of the space with foam tape. And this is that big, huge roll of 3M foam tape, but Amazon told me they're not making this particular size anymore. I had to pick a different size because this comes in my like Amazon subscribe and save, because then I always have a roll hanging out in my craft room. But they made me pick a new size because that's not available. So I don't know what I'm going to get now. But anyway, you can see that the foam tape is working. It's doing its job. It's making sure that everything stays in place. And so now it's time to start to assemble. However, one thing I did notice was that when I pulled on that pull tab, you could see the white cutout from where we cut the slider track. And that is why you need to not throw away this piece. So I'm going to hold that with my reverse clamp tweezers. I just want everything all over my desk today, y'all. I'm going to hold that with my reverse clamp tweezers, and I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue behind it. On the back of it. And then I'm just going to make sure that my card front is in place, and I'm going to slide this in. It did take me a few minutes, and true story, I'm not sure it was lined up perfectly, to be honest. But this is a homemade card, and it is an interactive card. And I think that nobody's really going to notice that that's off a little bit, because they're going to be going, whoa, dude, check this out. The scooter moves and there's money behind here, or a gift card behind here. Woo! Right? Okay. Once I have removed the backing to the foam tape, I am going to add some liquid glue to the top of my foam tape. And that is to give me the ability to kind of move it around into place and get it positioned properly over that little cutout piece. I can pick it up off my work surface and look at it and line it up. And, truth be told, it's probably not perfect. The margins around the card panel are probably not perfect, but it works. So the next thing I'm going to do is make sure that my pull tab actually slides in and out of that trough we created, or the little place we created for it. And now I need to glue the little girl to this pull tab. So I'm using a little bit of liquid glue. I'm just putting some on the back of those little plastic element pieces, I think is what they're called. And I'm arranging them down into the channel. And after I hold it there for a couple of seconds, I'm going to pull it to make sure that it works. And then I'm going to put a stamp block on top of this and leave it until the glue is dry. I don't want to keep fussing with it while that glue is wet. And by a few minutes, I put it down and went to lunch with my friend because it was my birthday last week. Okay, time lapse. Everything has dried. You can see it's working nicely. I did want to add some twine to the end of the pull tab. So I've punched a little hole in that, and I've pulled out this blue and white baker's twine from my stash. And I'm going to put a little piece through that hole and tie it in a knot. I did not make you watch me try and thread that baker's twine through that little hole. That was the smallest circle hole punch I could find. And I did not make you watch me do that, because it was a little hole and skinny twine and not fun to watch. Anyway, now that I have the twine knotted, I can cut off the rest of the tails. Give it a tug a couple times to make sure it's sliding smoothly, and insert the gift card that I probably should have put in before I tied the end shut, but it went in just fine. And the card seems to be working fabulously. This stamp set does have a couple of sentiments included in the set, which I did color in the video, and I have trimmed out this little one that says scooting by. And I did that off screen mostly because my camera's all zoomed in weird and I'm not sure why. And you couldn't see it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of that and put this up here in the top right hand corner of the card. I'm not sure who will receive this card, but it could be a birthday card. It could be a thinking of you card. It could be a lot of things card. So there it is. All we have to do is figure out what we have and use what we have to make things in our head. And sometimes it doesn't come out on the first try. Sometimes we have to try over and over, or, again, until we get it to work. See? There you go. A slider card, interactive slider card with a little hiding place for a gift card. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope you liked this video. I've added a couple of other videos here I think you will like, as well as a subscribe button. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did. Leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and have a really great day.